This couple bought a brand new home in Leander and thought they got a great deal. 3 months later, they realized they missed 5 figures in incentives. And situations like this are exactly why I'm making this video. The top 3 mistakes that are costing Austin homebuyers thousands of dollars and how to avoid them. I'm William Zhang, a real estate agent here in Austin, Texas. If you're looking to buy a home in the Austin area, feel free to reach out to me. I work with buyers and sellers all across the metro. I want to tell you about a couple who moved here from California last year. They closed on what they thought was their dream home in Leander for $475,000. Beautiful layout, great schools nearby, everything they wanted. But 3 months later, they realized they left $18,000 on the table and their monthly payment is $600 higher than it should be. And this is happening right now to buyers all over the Austin suburbs. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what went wrong and how you can avoid making these same expensive mistakes. So, this couple found a new build in Leander listed at $475,000. They loved the floor plan, the location was close to good schools in the Leander ISD, and they were ready to make it happen. Now here's where they made their first big mistake. They worked directly with the listing agent thinking they would save money by cutting out the buyer's agent. A lot of people think this way, but it doesn't work like that in new construction. What they didn't know is that the builder was offering a rate buy down to 3.9% for the first year plus $15,000 in closing cost credits. And these incentives were available to anyone who brought a buyer's agent to the table. But because they went in alone without representation, they never even knew these incentives existed. Let me break down the math for you because this is real money we're talking about. Right now, rates are sitting around 6.5% for most buyers. That buy down to 3.9% saves you roughly $500 per month in year 1. Over 12 months, that's $6,000 in savings just from the lower interest rate. And then you add the $15,000 in closing cost credits, which could have covered their entire closing costs and maybe even bought down their rate further. So total missed opportunity here is approximately $21,000 in first year value. That's a lot of money to leave on the table just because you didn't have someone in your corner who knew what to ask for. Now let me explain how builder incentives actually work because a lot of buyers don't understand this. Builders offer these incentives to move inventory, especially at the end of a quarter when they have sales goals to hit. They would rather give you a rate buy down or closing cost credits than drop the price of the home because dropping the price affects the comps in the entire neighborhood, so they keep the list price high and they sweeten the deal with incentives. But here's the thing, these incentives aren't advertised everywhere and they change weekly, sometimes even daily depending on how many homes the builder needs to close that month. You have to have someone who's actively talking to the builder reps and knows what's available right now. This couple didn't have that representation. They walked into the model home, fell in love with the house, and signed a contract without negotiating anything. The listing agent works for the builder. Their job is to get you to sign at the highest price with the least amount of concessions. They're not going to volunteer that you could get a better deal. And I see this happen all the time in Leander because there's so much new construction going up right now. Builders like D.R. Horton, Leander, and KB Home are all over that area and they're all competing for buyers. That means there are incentives available, but you have to know how to ask for them and you have to have leverage at the negotiating table. When you bring a buyer's agent, the builder pays that agent's commission out of their marketing budget. It doesn't cost you anything extra. But what it does give you is someone who can push back and say, hey, I know you're offering a rate buy down to other buyers, and I want that for my client too. Without that representation, you're just hoping the listing agent is going to give you the best deal, and that's not how it works. So that was mistake number 1. But missing out on builder incentives wasn't the only costly mistake this couple made. Quick pause here. If you're planning to buy in the Austin area, I've put together a free Austin buyer guide that breaks down builder incentives, taxes, and what to watch out for in each suburb. The link is down below. And if this is helpful so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post weekly videos to help you avoid expensive mistakes when buying in Austin. Now let's get into mistake number 2. Now, before they closed on the Leander home, this couple also looked at Georgetown as a backup option. They found a similar home at $465,000, and they thought they were getting a better deal because it was $10,000 less than the Leander house. The listing showed a tax rate that seemed reasonable at first glance, and they almost went with it. But here's what they missed, and this is a huge mistake that I see buyers make all the time in the Austin suburbs. This home was in a mud district with additional fees on top of the base tax rate. And nobody explained that to them until I walked them through it later. Let me break down a real example so you understand how big of a deal this is. The base tax rate in Georgetown might be 2.1%, which sounds pretty normal. But if you're in a mud district, that adds another 0.8 to 1.2% on top of that base rate. So now you're looking at a total effective tax rate of close to 3% or higher. On a $465,000 home, that extra mud tax is costing you an additional $3,700 to $5,600 per year. And that's every single year you own the home. Over a 30-year mortgage, that's over $100,000 in additional costs that you didn't account for when you made your offer. So what is a mud district and why does it exist? MUD stands for Municipal Utility District, and PID stands for Public Improvement District. These districts fund infrastructure like roads, water, sewers, and drainage in developing areas. Basically, the developer doesn't want to pay for all that infrastructure up front, so they create a special taxing district and pass those costs onto the homeowners over time. Now, I'm not saying you should never buy in a MUD or PID district. A lot of great neighborhoods in Georgetown, Pflugerville, and parts of Leander have these districts because that's where new construction is booming. But you have to know what you're getting into and you have to factor that into your monthly payment. The tax difference between a home in a MUD versus one that's not can be $400 to $500 per month. That's the difference between being comfortable in your budget and being house poor. And a lot of buyers only look at the listing price and the base tax rate without digging into the full tax story. This is especially common with out-of-state buyers who don't know to ask about MUD and PID districts. They see a home listed at $465,000 and they think, okay, my monthly payment is going to be around $3,000. But then they get their first tax bill and it's way higher than they expected because nobody told them about the extra assessments. So after they passed on the Georgetown option because of those MUD taxes, this couple pivoted to Pflugerville. They found a builder offering a lot of upgrade options, and they got really excited about being able to customize everything. And this is where they made their third expensive mistake. They spent $45,000 on upgrades. Premium flooring throughout the entire house, extended outdoor living space with a covered patio, top-of-the-line appliances, custom backsplash in the kitchen, upgraded light fixtures, the works. They figured if they're gonna build new, they might as well make it exactly how they want it. Here's where it went wrong. When the appraisal came back, those upgrades added maybe $15,000 in value. The appraiser looked at comparable sales in the area and said, okay, this home is worth what these other similar homes sold for, plus a little bit for the covered patio. But all that premium flooring and the fancy backsplash didn't move the needle. So now this couple had to bring an extra $30,000 to closing because the home didn't appraise for what they agreed to pay. That's $30,000 in cash out of their pocket on top of their down payment and closing costs. And a lot of buyers don't have that kind of money sitting around. Let me explain why certain upgrades don't appraise. Appraisers look at functional value, not cosmetic choices. A covered patio adds square footage to your outdoor living space, so that counts. An extra bedroom or bathroom adds functional value, so that counts. But the difference between builder grade tile and premium tile is subjective. The appraiser doesn't care that you spent $3,000 more on flooring because the next buyer might not even like that flooring. The smartest upgrade strategy when you're buying new construction is to focus on structural items that appraisers actually recognize. Things like square footage, bedroom and bathroom count, covered patios, and maybe energy-efficient windows. Those are upgrades that show up in the appraisal. Cosmetic upgrades like flooring, paint colors, backsplash, light fixtures, all of that stuff can be done after you close for way less money. You can go to a flooring retailer and get the same premium flooring installed for half of what the builder charges. Same thing with backsplash and fixtures. In a market like Pflugerville, where you have a lot of similar new builds, standing out with expensive cosmetic upgrades doesn't always translate to appraisal value. The comps are all cookie-cutter homes with similar layouts and finishes, so your custom choices don't justify a higher price to the appraiser. This mistake is especially painful when you're already stretching your budget. This couple ended up with a beautiful home, but they were house poor because they sank too much cash into it up front. They could have saved that $30,000 and used it for furniture or an emergency fund, or done the upgrades later when they had more breathing room. These three mistakes cost this couple over $50,000 in real money between missed incentives, unexpected taxes, and appraisal gaps. And this is happening right now to buyers moving to Austin from out of state who don't have local market knowledge. So let me recap the three mistakes quickly. Skipping buyer representation for new builds and missing out on rate, buy downs, and closing cost credits. Not calculating the full tax burden in MUD and PID areas, and getting hit with $400 to $500 more per month than you budgeted for. And overspending on cosmetic upgrades that don't appraise, and having to bring tens of thousands extra to closing. My name is William Zhang, and I'm a real estate agent here in Austin, Texas. If you're thinking about buying a home in the Austin area, reach out to me, call, text, or email using the contact information down below. I help buyers navigate Leander, Georgetown, Pflugerville, Cedar Park, Round Rock, and the surrounding suburbs every day. And before you go, make sure to watch this next video, 5 mistakes Austin homebuyers must avoid in 2026. It dives even deeper into the traps buyers are still falling into this year.